Hello everyone and welcome to this nighttime edition here of New Jersey weather. I am your meteorologist Joe Toth here. It is 1 a.m. I apologize I didn't get back to you earlier. I've been having some problems with my teeth here since I had some surgery done the other day, so I had some periods where I had to get some rest. But anyway, let's talk about some weather. And here are the latest weather headlines here. Yes, the cold weather continues. And we want to know if there's a pattern change coming up next weekend. Will it be on the mild side? Will it still be on the colder side? And what will the weather be like on Super Bowl Sunday? And that's what everyone wants to know. Is it going to be rain? Is it going to be snow? Is it going to be neither? That we will find out for you. And here are the current conditions here across the state of New Jersey. And you can see here, temperatures have been pretty much, across the state here you can see, temperatures are pretty much in the teens across much of the state into the 20s, and there's a cold front that's making its way. It's up in this area right around here now. It's about to make its way to the south and east. So these temperatures, as we head on into the overnight hours, will start to get even colder. So be aware of that, and some gusty winds as well. Now, if you look at the current surface map here, and here's that trough earlier you can see over in New England that gave us the snows during the morning and afternoon hours. I can zoom this up for you, get a better definition. Here it is nicely right here. And here is the Arctic boundary that's coming right over us right now. That will move offshore and bring in even colder air. And then you have this little area of disturbed weather here that's going to move this way tomorrow and into Monday. That might give us a couple of flurries, but no big deal to worry about. And then once this disturbance moves through, we are going to get very cold once again, unfortunately. And here's the current radar here. We can look at the radar, and look at that. We see that there's a couple of snow showers here. There were some squalls up to the north and west, but as you can see, as they have moved south and east towards northern portions of New Jersey here, it's been weakening here, and you see some snow showers down over here. They were heavier as they were back to the north and west. There were some snow squalls reported across portions of Hunterdon County, southern Somerset, Mercer counties, and even across near Philadelphia and southern New Jersey. But as you can see, they're moving to the south and east and slowly weakening. And once these move offshore, we should be quiet, and Sunday should be kind of quiet. And yes, I want to talk about here, this is the importance of what is the PNA, and this is going to be important in our forecast in the next week. As you can see to the left here, you can see this is what's called a positive PNA. And this is when you have a high pressure system in the upper levels in the west coast region. Usually that spells warmer temperatures, dry conditions, which is what's been going on across the west. You've been noticing there's been some dry weather with some fire warnings issued across California. And you can see here, there's a low up in the upper levels, right? This is, or what you call, everyone wants to know, is actually the polar vortex. Areas of disturbances come right down and bring down some colder weather across the central and eastern United States. And look at that. That's what we have right now. Now to the right here, you have what's called a negative PNA. You have the ridge off to the west here, the troughs in the west. More unsettled weather, maybe much needed rain across California. A negative PNA is going to develop across the region. Would this mean milder weather for us for the next weekend? Well, we'll take a look. But here's the definition of what the PNA is. Is the Pacific North American Teleconnection Pattern, a climatological term for a large-scale weather pattern with two modes, denoted positive and negative as mentioned, and which relates the atmospheric circulation pattern over the North Pacific Ocean with the one over the North American continent. So that's what we want to know. This is what the PNA really means here. We want to know what the Arctic Oscillation means. And look at the two. When we have a positive Arctic Oscillation here, this is when the polar vortex I mentioned to you stays up toward the North Pole. The colder weather stays up to the north here. And you see storms that come right across the country, right into Europe here. And you can see most of this is more Pacific drawn into our area, which would mean milder and warmer conditions for the eastern United States. In the negative Arctic Oscillation, however, the colder weather is able to penetrate further to the south across the central and eastern United States. Look at that. Now, I'm going to explain to you why this is going to be a challenging forecast for next weekend. And here's the Arctic Isolation, which is a pattern in which atmospheric pressure at polar and middle latitudes fluctuates between negative and positive phases. So that's what we were talking about, because you could see it was focusing more towards the middle latitudes and up toward the polar. And you could see what we had back there. So this is what we have, what the Arctic Isolation is. And here is the PNA and AO forecast. Okay, and this is the Pacific North American pattern here. And do bear with me here as we zoom in closer right here. Okay, when it's in a positive phase here, just remember, folks, that if it's at 1 or higher, it's considered a positive. If it's a -1 or lower, it's a negative phase. If it's right over here, like between 0 and -1, or 0 to 1, that's what we call a neutral. And here's the forecast here. Right now it is right neutral to positive. It's expected to move to neutral and eventually negative as we head into February. So what would that mean? That would mean a milder pattern for the eastern United States. Are we sure about that? Well, if we want to be sure about that, we could always look at the Arctic Isolation. And look at this, folks. Right now it's here. Cold weather coming in. Negative. Rises up here towards almost positive at the beginning of February, but then look, most of them show it going negative. So, what does this mean exactly? Well, we'll show you in just a moment. And here is the weather analysis discussion here. Let's look at the GFS. And here's what we can show you right here. Let's go right here. And you can see here, as we keep going on and on, throughout this run, you can see there comes the area of disturbance from Monday. As you can see, it's not a big deal. Possibility of flurries. As we move forward, you can see very cold air. Again, I'm moving into the country here, the eastern part. And then here's a weak coastal that moves offshore that brings some possibility of some snow to the Carolinas. And if we move on into day 5, there's the energy right here, as you can see, going right into the western United States here. And you can see what that's going to do as we head on into next weekend. And looking at the latest forecast for the Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday right now looks A-okay. Not too cold, not too warm, pretty much probably like 30s and 40s on this run. Although, as we can say right now, that there is a negative PNA, but look what's going on, the overrunning event. It's like snow there. Yeah, another wave of snow there. And that's all into February. Another system that tries to cut through here. And another disturbance down to the south here. So let's look at also what's called the upper levels of the atmosphere. Let's go towards next weekend. Now you can see here, PNA is neutral to negative here. Here is the polar vortex, right up here. Okay, and this is going right towards February. And as you can see, the polar vortex really hasn't moved too much. In fact, it moves to the south here. And you'll see in the next few frames. There you go. Look at that. Usually in a positive and an Arctic Isolation, we want this polar vortex right here to be further to the north. Okay? And if you had negative PNA and that to the north, this can move out. And the heights could rise to the east, warmer weather. But as long as this stays down to the south here, it's enough to keep us on the cold side of things into early February. And which would mean, unfortunately, for some of those that don't want warm weather, it would stay a little bit colder. But at least, judging by this upcoming pattern, it won't be as brutally cold as what we've been seeing recently. But still cold enough that we could still see some snow in the beginning of February. So the only way we can really get a warmer weather for February is if this area here moves to the north. And we have the negative PNA in place. But if this can move to the north, we will see much warmer weather for the eastern United States. If this stays over here, it stays cold. So pretty much what we're generally looking at here is when you have a negative PNA and a negative Arctic isolation here, generally you're looking at not too cold, but cold and potentially stormy pattern as we head into the beginning of February. So that's pretty much the general outcome here of this upcoming pattern here. It looks right now that we're going towards a little cold and stormy side at the beginning of February. But we'll still keep an eye on it. It's still a possibility that we can get mild based on the negative PNA that's developing. And so here's our 3-day weather forecast for New Jersey here. For overnight, we will have snow showers and squalls possible early, and then it'll be clearing, and it'll become windy, and lows will be dipping into the single digits for the far northern sections and teens elsewhere. And for your Sunday, we will have some sun early, and then later in the afternoon, we'll see some increasing clouds. And high temperatures will be in the teens far north, 20s across central and southern sections, and near 30 or even the low 30s across the extreme southern sections of New Jersey. Because on Sunday, we will be having southerly winds, so the temperatures will actually increase from south to north later on Sunday. And you can see into Sunday night, we have mostly cloudy skies, but you can see temperatures steadily or slowly rising throughout the night. Lows will generally be in the 20s across most of the state, except 30s across the southern sections and along the coast. And for your Monday, we will have mostly cloudy skies with a chance of flurries, and the best chance will be in the northern sections, and the highs will mainly be in the 30s statewide. However, later in the afternoon on Monday, temperatures will be starting to drop. And for your Tuesday, yes, we're back in the Arctic chill, mostly sunny and very cold, with highs near 10 across extreme northern sections of New Jersey and teens elsewhere. This is your New Jersey weather. I am meteorologist Joe Toth, and have a good night.